Hey guys, it's Chloe, and today I am here with a book talk for Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. So first of all, I did bookish cover makeup for this book as well. I decided to stick with a very simple look and focus on the red of the flower with my lipstick and the black staircase with my eyeliner. I didn't want to do anything really big for this look, so I kind of just kept it simple. I'm keeping my promise on doing book talks for every single once read-along book, and this month we read Cruel Beauty, and we used the hashtag retelling the tale on social medias. Now this is the first read-along book that I have actually had mixed feelings on. This book, it was everywhere for me. I have some good opinions, I have some not so good opinions. It was just everywhere for me. So let's go ahead and get started. So when I first started reading this book, I got about 40 pages in before I realized the beginning is just very slow, very confusing, and I did not like that about the book. It was a very turn off point for me. Normally when I don't like books, I don't like to finish them, but since we have the live show, I wanted to finish this book. But the slow pace and the confusing story was just really getting to me. So that's one thing I really didn't like about it. Now in this story we have Nyx, and she is betrothed to the Gentle Lord, who is this demon who hails over Arcadia, where she lives, and he's a very cruel man, and she's been engaged to him since she was born because her father made a bargain with him, and the bargain was her mother can have children, but the bad part of the bargain was one of them has to marry the Gentle Lord when she turns 17, and her mother dies from the birth. She can't give birth to them, and it's just not good. Nyx and Estrella, they're twins, and Nyx has been betrothed to the Gentle Lord, and Estrella is very, I don't want to say closed-minded, but she's very innocent, and she doesn't really understand. And their father shows more affection for Estrella than Nyx. With Nyx, he just wants her to fulfill her duty and kill the Gentle Lord. Now, a lot of this book was mixed in with mythology, which made it a little more confusing for me. I mean, I love mythology and Greek mythology, but it's just it made it very confusing, along with, you know, the lessons that she had been learning as a child so she can kill the Gentle Lord, and it just made it very confusing, and I did not like that at all. Now, once we get past the marriage ceremony and she is living with the Gentle Lord, at this point we call him Ignifex. That is when the story started to pick up, and I really started to like this story, but there were still parts that were turn-off points to me, like the different stories involving the Greek gods, and that was really just no, and it made it confusing. But at the same time, I was really liking this portion because we're seeing how she interacts with him while she's, you know, plotting to kill him. And Ignifex also has this servant who is a shadow, and we call him Shade. And he is actually, we learn later, he is the shadow of the last prince of Arcadia. And when we met him and we got more of a feel for who he was, I kind of had this theory that Shade was the shadow of Ignifex, like the good part of him, and in the end the shadow would be reattached and he would be good and they would live happily ever after. But that's not how it happened, actually. I had a few theories going in with this book. I also had the idea that Shade will be freed as a servant to the Gentle Lord, and then him and Nyx would fall in love and run away together. That didn't happen either. While Nyx is journeying the house, she comes across a room that has a mirror in it, and in the mirror she can see her sister Estrella, and we're not completely sure whether this is currently or what's happening, but I don't believe that it tells the truth. One thing that this mirror reminded me of, it reminded me of in Harry Potter, the first book, in the Mirror of Erised. That's what it really reminded me of, but I don't think it's exactly the same thing. It might, because the way Nyx is seeing Estrella sad and mourning for her, maybe that's how she wants Estrella to be, but again, I'm not completely sure. That was never really made clear, and that kind of bugged me a little bit. So more into the middle of the book, heading towards the end, we see that Nyx and Ignifex are starting to show affection for one another, and she is starting to fall in love with him. And that's where I came up with another theory where Nyx and Ignifex would fall in love, and they would rule Arcadia together, and she wouldn't kill him. And I was really banking on this theory, because it kept going on, and I'm like, okay, this is making more sense. Once Nyx finds a plan to destroy him in order to win her sister's forgiveness, that's when it got weird, and this plan actually worked. It destroyed the Gentle Lord. But it was confusing because it threw her into a world where the Gentle Lord never existed, and she never had to go anywhere. And that was what really confused me. That little portion of the book really was a turnoff again, and it wasn't very clear how he was destroyed, and I really didn't like that. I feel like how the Gentle Lord was destroyed should have been more clearer, and maybe not as simple, but clearer than it was. In fact, when she woke up in this new world, I did not really like it. It was because it was confusing. I did not like it, and I don't really know how to explain why I didn't like it, but I didn't. Now, I really liked the last 3-4 pages of this book, because that's where her happy ending, for lack of a better term, came in. When she's still in this new world, but she goes and she finds this new man who is actually half of Shade and half of Ignifex, creating, you know, man, a normal man, who's also a prince, and I really like that. But he was in the form of, not necessarily a shadow, but more of a ghostly figure, and she found a way to save him, and again, it also wasn't really clear how that happened, but it happened, and they got up and they decided, you know, I may not really know you, but I know parts of you, and with that we can start off loving each other and then fall more deeply in love as the road goes on. And that was the end of the book, basically. So overall, I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm actually shocked. I liked it, but I didn't like it. And normally, well, the past 2 read-along books that we've read, I've actually liked. And this was just really strange. And I kind of don't know how to really sum up my feelings in like one sentence. So that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. As always, if you liked the video, go ahead and press the like button. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. My name is Chloe, and I will see you guys in my next video.